All right, so this is how Ingrid and Uriel's trip back to the Philippines was like. Of course, they started out in Michigan at my mother's house, and they took a drive from there to South Bend, uh, to the airport there. And it was really nice. When they got to the airport, the security let my mother go in to sit with them in the terminal, which is not normal, but it was really nice that they were able to do that, have a couple extra hours of family time together. So that was really nice. So they flew from South Bend to Chicago, and then Chicago they flew to San Francisco, and from San Francisco they fly in to Cebu in the Philippines. It was supposed to be Manila, but that didn't work. So they land in Cebu, and then they have to go into a 10-day quarantine, which Uriel called me every day. Ingrid didn't know whether or not she was a prisoner or if she was just in quarantine. It wasn't very pleasant. After the 10-day quarantine, I can go down and pick them up. So I find out the day that I'm leaving to go pick them up that I have to get a COVID test in order to enter Manila. So I go to the place to get my COVID test, and it was unpleasant, as anyone who's gotten a COVID test knows, but I did that. Then Ingrid and Uriel take a plane from Cebu to Manila. I pick them up in Manila. We drive through the city. It's very strange that a city that's usually so busy was rather empty right now compared to normal. And so that was rather interesting. But we take the long drive back from Manila up to Baguio. It's about a 6 hour drive all the way. So we are driving, and we're driving, and we're driving, and we're driving, and we're stopping, and we're getting gas, and we're using the restroom. And we have to be really careful when we're eating because Uriel's not allowed to eat anywhere. So he has to stay in the car. So we have to go back and forth between that. He can only go to the bathroom, and that's it. We get to Baguio, and there's the checkpoint, which we knew was going to be here. Not a big deal. Checkpoints everywhere here right now. But when we stop at this checkpoint, they tell us that we have to go through a triage center that we weren't aware we had to do that particular one. So they take us, it's just across the street from the checkpoint. We go to the triage. Ingrid goes out, talks with the police that are in charge of it, and she says that we're not staying in Baguio, and they say, "Oh, that's nice. It doesn't really matter. You still got to do this triage, and we're going to send you to this other triage in Baguio before you go to La Trinidad, which is where anyone from Benguet has to go to." So it actually took a long time, and then they end up giving us a police escort from this triage to the next triage. So there we are, driving again, following a police officer on a motorcycle. Apparently, they have to do this because a lot of people just skip the triage, so that's why they have to do the police escort. But it was a little frustrating because it was out of our way to go to this triage instead of just the triage we knew about. But whatever, that's the plan. That's the rules. So we get to the second triage. Ingrid goes inside, and she meets whoever's in charge of the triage there. And they say, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here. You need to do your triage in La Trinidad." And she's all like, "Well, we know. That's what we told the last people." And they said, "Yeah, we wanted you to stop here so that we can tell you that you need to go to La Trinidad." Ah, very frustrating. So, being very nice and polite, we say thank you, and we drive again to the other triage place, the original one that we were supposed to go to that we had to sidestep twice before we got there. It adds about an hour ish to our trip, just the driving, not including the wasted triage time. But we drive to La Trinidad. We get to the main triage center for La Trinidad. It's a big building that's in the middle of nowhere. You think you're lost when you get there, but you're not. You're exactly where it's supposed to be. We spend about 30 minutes there, and then they contact our municipality and say, "Yep, you're good. Go ahead." So off we go from that triage, taking another drive, as you can imagine, for about 2 hours to get from there to our house. Well, it's supposed to be a 2 hour drive. It ended up being about a 2.5 hour drive because of all the triage things. We hit, of course, bad traffic, and it took forever for us to get through, but that was all right. We finally get out of the city, and we arrive home with much rejoicing, much excitement. It was very happy times indeed. Um, and yeah, it was just great to be home. But that was not the end of the story, because after that, we still have 4 days of quarantine, which is okay. We have to stay inside and whatever, but we can be together. And so we got to have fun. Uriel and I playing together again, and Ingrid resting and uh, taking pictures and videos of me and Uriel playing, especially with his new Hot Wheels. So that's what happened. That's what it is like traveling from the US to the Philippines, all the different regulations in the Philippines and whatnot. That's what it was like. So, yeah, thank you for your prayers. Thanks for supporting us and being with us. And God bless. Stay safe. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Throw us some comments down below or questions. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.